What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome back into another live show. That's two going on today. Myself and Josh Davis, as we have a massive contract extension. I mean, this one is one we've been waiting a very long time for. Philadelphia inked Landon Dickerson a couple of weeks ago, and they have gone out and added to their offensive line in terms of extending the core four, as I like to call it, with Jason Kelce gone now. And you have a Jordan Mailata deal, Josh, that is really some staggering numbers here. You see it up on your screen from Adam Schefter. A 3-year, $66 million extension, includes $48 million guaranteed and a $20 million signing bonus per sources. The deal ties Milata to Philadelphia through 2028, putting him only behind Laramie Tunsil, Trent Williams, and Andrew Thomas, making him the fourth highest paid offensive tackle in the entire National Football League. Josh, I think we all are going to love this one, right?
I think so. I think the majority of everyone. Now, granted, like whenever you say this is the extension we've all been waiting for, it is. But we're gonna get, I'm sure, a lot of comments of people go, "What about Smitty? You know, when is Smitty gonna get paid?" Because that's like priority 1A. But it'll happen. I don't think that there's really you or I have any sort of anxiety or concern or anything like that Smitty's not going to get done. And again, we'll see exactly where this impacts the cap or how it does. If anything, though, and we've looked at it a little bit, that the basic preliminary numbers would be that it barely helps you for this season, but it's more a long-term play, which is great. I mean, you're locking up a left tackle in Jordan Mailata, who's been one of the best in the game. You naturally, he's going to get paid like it, but good for him. I mean, a 7th-round pick, it's incredible. Everyone probably knows his story, but the incredible fact that this dude didn't even really play football at all. You get drafted. Stout is unbelievable. You also know that, but being able to turn him into one of the best left tackles in the game, you've paid for Jalen Hurts. You're paying for this offense. It's no surprise you're investing so much on the offensive side of the ball. So you know what? Hey, lock up these guys long-term. They're cornerstones of your offense, and they get things figured out beyond that. But again, I will preface it and say DeVonta Smith signing is coming. So people that are freaking out about that, this is not taking away from Smitty. This is not the same as, hey, do you want to pay Reddick? Do you want to pay all these other guys? Smitty can for sure and will for sure get paid.
This is all part of the plan, too. I mean, the entire offseason, we knew that there was a handful of guys that needed big-time contract extensions. Landon Dickerson was definitely one of them. Milata was up there. And then, of course, DeVonta Smith, who you just mentioned. We're not going to worry about because it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Milata, though, is a great example of if you perform well in Philadelphia, and right now, under the new Howie Roseman offseason plan, you're under the age of 30, he's 27 years old, you're going to get a massive extension, and we're going to make you one of the highest paid at your position. They made Dickerson the highest paid guard in the National Football League, and they make Milata the 4th highest paid tackle, which I think is fair. He's not the best left tackle in the league, but he's, 1C, 1D. A lot of people will say Trent Williams, Laramie Tunsil, obviously one of the highest paid guys, but he's been fantastic. And like you mentioned, everyone knows the story. We all know where he came from and the fact that he didn't play any football up until a couple of years ago, and now is one of the best tackles in the league. He's a great teammate. He's a great guy. And during the Eagles' really awful stretch this past season, he was one of the ones in the locker room every single game voicing the idea that they needed to change and come together, and he tried to lead him out of there. Now, obviously, no one was able to successfully do that. I think coaching definitely had to play a major part in that, but he's well-loved by everyone in the organization, and this is an extension that needed to get done. No surprise that it got done, and now you have Jordan Mailata back in Philadelphia, or I guess staying in Philadelphia for what's going to be till at least 2028. And honestly, they're probably not going to let him go anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's the right move. To your point, I mean, he is one of the best in the game, and with as much as you have focused on Jalen Hurts protecting his blind side, you're going to solidify that. You also look at the longer term impact to it. Is Lane Johnson? Hey, he's great. He's phenomenal. Everybody knows that, but he's only going to be here. Probably the assumption is for a couple more seasons. I mean, he's alluded to it. It's talking about his replacement. We've gotten into a number of times, who should they draft and all the other stuff there. But yeah, you want to solidify it as much as you can. So you say, you know what? Get your guy at the left tackle spots for sure locked up. And also, too, I mean, let's not forget, I think this is a really big importance on it. And we've seen it a number of times. The offensive line and the chemistry is a big factor, but you just paid Landon Dickerson. So Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, like they were, I guess Milata had Landon Dickerson as his best man in his wedding. So there's a huge relationship there on that side. So, I mean, it's even better because you say, all right, hey, let's get these guys here together as long as possible because they already have a ton of chemistry and working well together. So you just solidify the left side of that line. Center, I know some people are going to say Cam Jurgens, whatever, but I'm really confident in that. And then maybe we got to figure out the right guard situation and Lane. But you look at the left side and you're like, good, you know what? We're golden. To your point, 2028, we're solid. We can get the other side figured out. And then the question becomes, Smitty, when does that contract extension done? I'm sure they're working out the details. Wide receiver market has been kind of wild. You look at Calvin Ridley signing, you want to get ahead of some of the others, the CeeDee Lambs, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like get in before those contracts hit because it's going to skyrocket after that point. But yeah, so far so good. Great moves. I guess, I know we're talking about Milata here, but Smitty's the natural, next question there. If you had to guess, do you have a prediction at all? I mean, to just put you on the spot, but prediction at all, like timing of when this might get done, when we'll possibly see a Smitty extension?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's anything to keep it from taking too long, barring the fact that he does want to wait and see what the other receivers are going to do. But there is an argument out there, at least from a DeVonta Smith perspective, that he's not better than Justin Jefferson, but you can still wait and see what Jefferson gets. I think right now, most people would take, CeeDee Lamb as wide receiver 1 versus Smitty as a 1B because of A.J. Brown, although take A.J. away, what would Smitty look like? I mean, come on, there's still some argument there that he's better or worse, depending on who you're a fan of in terms of CeeDee Lamb. So waiting for his contract deal doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. I think they're just taking their time. And Smitty said he wants to stay in Philadelphia. I think the issue that the Eagles have is, do you give him more than A.J. Brown? Because he deserves more than A.J. Brown based on where the contract is being given. Because A.J.'s was given 2 years ago whenever he was obviously traded for and then signed. And that was $25 million a year. Well, inflation's a real thing for NFL players too. The market moves forward, the salary cap moves up, and people want more money than what A.J. Brown got 2 years ago. So you give Smitty 26, well then what do you do with A.J. Brown? I mean, it just goes for a kind of a domino effect there from the wide receiver standpoint, and I think that they're just slowly working through this, but obviously Philadelphia has had their offseason plan in full swing. Jordan Mailata being signed was one of the main things that Philadelphia needed to get done. Did it take a couple more weeks than you would have thought? Yes, but they still were able to get it done. And so the whole idea that a Smitty signing is not going to happen, or it's just not going to work, or it's going to take too long, or there's some sort of drama there, I think is ridiculous, and everything's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Again, I see some of the comments. Rich King says Howie's making moves. Weedosaurus Rex says would like to see his production if Goddard doesn't get hurt. So, I mean, interesting, like, where
right.
You might see that, but still, yeah, like he's worth it. You're going to see the deal. I would assume, kind of like you're alluding to there as well, like the way the salary cap and the inflation, everything else, probably get a deal that's bigger than AJ. But, I mean, that's kind of the way this thing works. It's just a leapfrog one after the other. So he's totally well deserving. I mean, the plays that he makes, the fact that you can count on him for consistency, he's always on the field. And also, I mean, he's hardly ever creating any sort of drama. Like, it usually comes somewhat with a territory. I mean, a lot of wide receivers, not all of them, but a lot of wide receivers, it kind of comes with a territory. There's that fine line of diva, and there's the fine line of like, you really want them to be competitive like crazy. And DeVonta has seemed to figure out the perfect balance of it, an incredible balance of it, because like you never hear anything, but he's always out there giving his all and making really impact plays, great team player and everything else. So he's totally deserving in my mind. And yeah, he'll get it done hopefully sooner rather than later, but I'm not too concerned about it.
Now, in terms of free cap space, Philadelphia, it's hard to gauge because we don't know the exact details of the contract. You get $20 million in bonus. Are they pushing sort of the $48 million guaranteed towards the latter half of this contract? Is it up in the beginning? We don't know. And so if you're wondering how this affects the Eagles' current cap situation, following the Maddox signing a couple of hours ago, we don't know the number on that one. They're still probably in the teens. If you're talking about real free cap space, it's between $15 and $25 million would be my guess. And that's, again, a very rough estimate because Josh and I, we're not capologists and we don't have the contract details. So once we get that, then you can kind of fully figure out, okay, you have this much remaining to go sign somebody. But the Smitty contract extension doesn't really affect this year's cap number because in all likelihood, they'll push his cap number forward. That way this year, it'll be under $15 million, especially under that because they don't like anyone to be over $15 million except for Lane Johnson. And then you go ahead and extend that throughout the 3 or 4 years of the deal. And so signing DeVonta Smith is not hindered by the Jordan Mailata signing at all. This is just simply Philadelphia locking up people that they draft. Again, offensive line has been one of the fewer places in recent history where Howie Roseman has not missed on. I mean, seemingly he's nailed almost every single offensive line pick. I'm sure Jeff Stoutland has helped with that tremendously. But at the same time, he's proven time and time again, you're young, you're doing your job, zero drama. Look at Dickerson. Obviously, go ahead and look at Jordan Mailata. You're a big, giant plus to this football team. You're going to be paid very, very handsomely, and it's good motivation. It's good motivation for guys who have contracts coming up. Eventually a Nolan Smith, eventually a Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. This is year 3. I mean, you got to be looking down the road and seeing, man, if I could get into the top 5 at my position group in the NFL, I'm going to get a massive bag from Howie Roseman. So hopefully this gives you motivation to a lot of the players who have contracts that are up and coming or coming up very, very soon to try and get even better to be able to get that bag.
I'm hopeful. Yes, you said it right there. The motivation for others to take a look at it, and hopefully they do rise to the occasion in the sense of, especially Jordan Davis, like you said, we've talked about a number of times, but it's a great point. Like Howie Roseman does not wait till the last second. The vast majority. I mean, if you get to the final year of your contract, usually that's not a great sign. Certainly with a Howie Roseman type of scheme or methodology, because he's going into it of, you know what, you're going to show me whether it's worth it before your final year. I will know about you whether I'm going to extend or not before this final year, and then we're going to get something done. And if not, and we reach the final year, like 90% chance you're going to play out that contract. And then unfortunately, we're just going to let you go and it's going to be a comp pick because you already have that going into play of, well, then we're going to fight free agency and we might not be able to win out and it's going to be a higher number and everything else. So you know what? It's better to get the deal done early. You don't have to pay as much and you kind of lock it up long-term. And then also again, like the I guess positive side effect, if you will, of that is you're motivating the other players to say, hey, you know what? Howie's proven, Eagles organization has proven they're not afraid to pay earlier. And kudos to Jeffrey Lurie too, because he's okay with structuring contracts that do pay out bonuses up front.
Yes,
give the money
time
beforehand so that you can save down the road and then you kind of free up more of that cap space. So I love it. I think it'll be good ramifications. Milata is awesome as it is. I mean, look at all the mic'd up footage and everything else. A great character, but great energy for the locker room. Naturally, all the gradings as well as far as pass blocking, run blocking has been good. But this is a positive, and now we see where this leads to DeVonta.
There you go. We got a bunch of people commenting Smitty extension coming most likely halfway through the season. I don't know if we'll wait that long for that to go ahead and happen. Yeah. I think it's going to be just because he's going to want to get the insurance in terms of injury guarantees and so on and so forth. Mullen saying Smitty will get extended due time. Relax. Well deserved in terms of Milata, says AJ Harris. Like everyone, I mean, Jordan Mailata is one of the most liked players of this football team in the entire city of Philadelphia. This is an easy one, I think, for most people.
Yeah. And it would say, Michael H. saying, so no left tackle in the first round this year. Yeah, I don't think that was really a question to begin with, but yeah, for sure. No left tackle in the first round. Also, the Jordan Davis comment, Twisty said the problem is conditioning. He was tired late in the year. So, it's like, whatever it is, motivation-wise, hey, it's your time to shine. JD, go get your bag. Get motivated, be conditioned, be a game wrecker, like we've mentioned a number of times as well, and you'll get paid. You can see it.
Well, it just shows you that if you become one of the top players of your position, this is true for most players in the National Football League, but the difference between being the 11th best or 15th best left tackle and being the third best left tackle is like $20 million. I mean, it's a lot of money, and Jordan Mailata obviously secures that bag and gets the generational wealth that every single one of these players, dreams of getting for their second contract in the National Football League. Like, a rookie deal is good. You're going to blow through it pretty quick. Most people do. Talk about cars and, a house for your mom and dad and just getting that wealth for the first time. The second contract, though, is the one that everybody strives for because the numbers you see, $20 million guaranteed, 48 guaranteed, $20 million in signing bonus. I mean, it's a huge number for a guy that didn't come from much. If you've seen, what he grew up in, coming from Australia.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to him. It's awesome. I mean, the story. I'm sure that there will be. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that there hadn't. At least I didn't hear anything yet. But there's got to be a movie made about Jordan Mailata. Like there's too many great Hollywood moments that you can. Yeah, there's a little bit of embellishment and everything else. Look at The Blind Side. I know that's actually a terrible representation of it, apparently. So we're not going to get into that. But like if you even just telling the legit story and maybe a little bit of embellishment there is like, it's incredible. This dude not playing the NFL, rugby, and goes and ends up 7th round pick. Tutelage under Stout, and next thing you know, he becomes one of the highest paid left tackles. Plus, with his personality and everything else, it's a movie waiting to happen. So good for him. It'll be interesting on that side. I did see there's a comment from looks like Don Corleone was saying, "Am I wrong last year?" Oh, talking about the other signing, but worse coverage from Maddox. Does that mean he's done? I mean, no, I don't think so. It's injuries. Defense was bad to begin with, just with the defensive coordinators. So. We'll see there as far as that one. But yes, back to the signing here. It's totally well deserved. To your point, if you're going to be one of the top performers, I mean, Howie paid left guard Landon Dickerson the highest paid contract for a left guard or for a guard, and then he's going to do that move here very close with Jordan Mailata. I think it's 4th highest paid is what you were saying there. So You get on the field, you make your impact, and you make your presence felt, and you're going to get paid for it. So not too bad. Plus, like I say, your right guard slot, whether it's Tyler Steen, if that actually ends up happening, or you draft someone, you're not going to have to be on the hook for paying you near as much. So you say, okay, cool, we're paying a lot on the left side of the line, and you do have Lane Johnson as well, but kind of the interior with Cam Jurgens still on the rookie contract and whoever your right guard is, it kind of offsets of sorts. So you got to hopefully, balance those ideas. And then eventually whoever your right tackle is also going to be kind of the same way. So you're not having to pay 5 guys, your $20 million a year, because that's obviously like impossible cap wise.
Right.
But good investing. I like it.
Full Send Daily with 5 here for our jersey raffle during the NFL draft. Is my guess Smitty gets his extension the week before the draft? It could be this week. It could be next week. It could be the week before the draft. I mean, really, there is no way to tell. But the idea that they would let Smitty walk or let him go into the 4th year and be able to test free agency next offseason with a lot of wide receiver needy teams every year when you get to an NFL offseason is surprising. I mean, it's definitely going to happen. Today's about Jordan Mailata, and right now, Avonte Maddox. Those are the 2 big signings. And again, Philadelphia's had an extremely active offseason. We have not seen an offseason in Philadelphia since, I don't know, 2010, 2011. I mean, it's been a long time since they signed this many players and went ahead and had this many internal extensions, and Howie clearly has a plan and has been following through with it, and I think it's been pretty great.
Yes. And it's I guess what, the 2018 draft that he's prioritizing lately, the Avonte Maddox, Jordan Mailata. Yeah, so maybe take care of it sequentially. So DeVonta Smith will eventually get there. You're just kind of going back through your past draft picks and you'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I think, like we've seen, especially if you're going to invest in any spot, and I would feel like the majority of people would agree with this, but if you have a proven offensive lineman, we've seen a number of times where, you know what, Stout, as good as he is, you still only hit on so many. So if this is the proven guy, and obviously he is because he's gotten to that level, like, you don't let him walk. You extend him. You keep as long as possible. You get this thing locked up because there's a lot of other question marks of what you need to get done. So it makes perfect sense on the financial side. Plus, he's an incredible fit for Philly, for the culture, for the team vibes, everything that you had mentioned too. So, it's a no-brainer in my mind, but good for him. 7th round pick turned into 4th highest paid tackle in the game. Fantastic.
There you go. I couldn't agree more. I think we'll leave it at that. We wanted to make sure we got to show up for you guys to break this down. If you missed it, obviously you missed the beginning. Mailata extended through 2028, $68 million, 44 guaranteed. And if you missed it, just replay the show overall. All right, make sure you guys go hit the sub button. That way you don't miss any of our live shows. First people live, as always. That's our promise to you. We'll catch you guys in the next one. For Josh Davis, I'm Thomas Mott. Signing off. See you guys.
Go Birds.